So let's continue this conversation. Fox 31, of course, your local election headquarters, and we are on this major story, the impact this could have on the upcoming presidential election. We are joined this morning by our political analysts, Michael Fields and Andy Boyne. Thank you for joining us this morning. We have the two of you on Colorado Point of View all the time, and I think a lot of people, honestly, maybe have been surprised that he was convicted on all 34 felony counts. And so let's just start with your general reaction to the jury's decision, and we can start with you, Andy.
Well, I would say a couple of things about this. It's interesting. While it's not surprising, we talked about this on the show last week that he would be convicted on all counts. It is somewhat surprising by the speed with which the jury selected. They took 2 days to deliberate. They asked for clarification from the judge for jury instructions and some Cohen testimony we read to them. So I think what's interesting about this all is that this is the first time an American president has ever been convicted of a federal crime. And it's not something to celebrate. It's a somber, solemn day, actually, is what it is. And obviously now he's a convicted felon.
And Michael, what's your reaction to all of this? And obviously we heard from the former president yesterday. We are expecting to hear from him again in a couple of hours.
Yeah, I think that it has a lot to do with politics. You have to ask yourself, why was this case brought after 8 years after the alleged crime? I think it is because of politics. You have Trump, who's up in the polls, and so you see these prosecutions. You see him trying, states trying to kick him off the ballot like they did in Colorado. I think it sets a dangerous precedent that this won't be the last time that a former president gets convicted of a crime. It was a Republican in New York. Next time it could be a Democrat in Wyoming or Mississippi. So I think it does set a dangerous precedent moving forward.
Now, social media, we know sometimes it can be a dangerous thing, and sometimes it can tell you a lot. I'll just say, when we first posted what happened with the verdict on our Fox 31 account, you go look at all the responses, and it's not just our Fox account. Many accounts all over the country posted what happened here, and you saw the responses still voting for him. This makes me want to vote for him more. So I want to hear from both of you on this. Of course, Michael, our Republican analyst, Andy, our Democratic analyst. Michael, what do you think this means for the former president? Does this give his supporters more juice heading into the election?
I think it absolutely does. People who were supporting Trump last week aren't going to change this week. In fact, I think it helps Trump. It will motivate his supporters. You've already seen money pouring into the campaign. He's up in the polls, and I don't think it's going to change after this.
And Andy, for you, obviously, this also adds fuel to the Democratic base, saying that how in the world would you elect, a convicted felon back as president again?
Well, I think there are interesting things about this. About 17% of those polled said that they will change their vote. They were voting for Trump, and 17% said now they won't. So I think it will have a little bit of an effect. But as we go through the summer and the fall and the autumn months when we really are campaigning heavily, I think you'll see some people start to question really his, not only just this conviction, but about his intellect in general, and about how he makes decisions and how he reacted to this by saying he's an innocent man. He's obviously not innocent. He's a convicted felon, and prosecution proved that beyond a reasonable doubt to 12 of his peers in Manhattan. So if that happens in Manhattan, imagine how the rest of the country feels about Donald Trump elsewhere when obviously those in Manhattan convicted him.
Well, you mentioned 12 of his peers, but at the same time, there's been a lot of debate about how in the world you find unbiased jurors who can actually do this case without any sort of bias. And let's talk about that. I mean, how is it possible to have no bias on a former president? We can start with you, Michael.
Yeah, I don't think that it is possible, and especially in Manhattan. It's why the Trump campaign tried to get this moved elsewhere, and it got denied. I think most people see this as, a biased prosecution, a biased judge, a biased jury. And really, you just want people to be held to the same standard. Hillary Clinton had a campaign finance violation, gets a fine. Now you have the Trump campaign do it, and Trump gets convicted of a felony. So I think there's a double standard here, and I think people see that, which is why we won't really have an impact on the election come November.
And Andy, what's your response?
Well, you're shaking your head, Andy.
I'm sorry. Those are completely different charges. Trump also had campaign violations that was paid for by a fine. This was falsifying business documents, which is a felony, and 34 felony counts trump, if you will, any kind of campaign finance violation. So those two are not similar at all.
Well, meantime, we know he has 3 other cases that are kind of bogged down by appeals. But despite all of this, there's been massive turnouts. Some of the polls showing right now he's leading in battleground states like Georgia, Michigan, other battleground states, Arizona. So a lot to follow. We'll see reaction. And again, of course, we will bring that to you live once former President Trump speaks later today. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us this morning on this huge historic case.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Andy. And of course, you'll be seeing more of them as we head towards November and election time.